Casual here. If you are struggling to get your Trickster to max level, you are not alone. In many forums I see people asking for help. There are plenty of build guides out there for the Trickster, but what they don't cover is the Trickster's unique playstyle. In this guide I will tell you how to build and play an AP Trickster to get those CT15 gold times. Let's get into it. I start each fight with Hunt the Prey. This triggers a number of important things. It gets you behind your enemies and outs the firing line for both range and melee damage. It activates Combat Shield's timeline, increasing your Anomaly power by 50% for 10 seconds, and Leaper Clincher, which increases your resistance piercing by 25%. Through Unstoppable Force, this also buffs your Anomaly power by a further 12.5%. Radiation Jump inflicts vulnerable onto the enemy you teleport behind, increasing damage to them by 25%, which is great for elite enemies, and Backstabber inflicts 129,000 damage. And in addition, Altered Executioner increases your Anomaly power by 10% for every enemy in close range, which can be a significant buff. As soon as I teleport behind my target, I use my melee skill. Not only does this do damage which scales off your Anomaly power, but it activates Anomaly Scything for a further 30% buff to Anomaly power and inflicts weakness through Withering Scything, reducing enemy damage by 25%, something which is great for survivability when fighting elites. I then throw my Venator's Knife, which deals damage, slows up to 5 enemies, and activates Counter Shield, which buffs my AP by a further 50% for 10 seconds. More than that, the first damage dealt by me to enemies hit by Venator's Knife does double damage. With all of the buffs to Anomaly power, the additional damage from Venator's Knife and vulnerability applied, it is time to use our damage skill Temporal Blade. This skill inflicts slow and does AoE damage that scales off our Anomaly power, so with all of the AP buffs I have going, it hits like a truck. I have buffed its damage even further with Strong Slice, added an additional activation each cooldown through Slasher, and reduced its cooldown through Cut Loose. Using Temporal Blade also activates an Anomaly Acceleration for another 50% AP damage buff, and Scion of the Void, which through Unstoppable Force buffs your AP just that little bit more. This also activates my primary survivability mod, Temporal Armor, which can boost your armor to the physical damage reduction cap if you are fighting a pack of enemies. I'm showing you some footage now which illustrates how all of these buffs can stack when you are fighting packs. As you can see, your AP is getting up to nearly 300,000, your armor to 447,000, and your physical damage resistance to the 85% cap. With the Technomancer and the Pyromancer, you can let your enemies come to you and quite often pick them off at a distance. With a Trickster, you need to get in close for your healing mechanic to work, and then never stop moving. If you do, then you are dead. I don't use my main weapon in this build. With cooldowns on all skills of around 7 seconds, there is rarely any need to be firing a gun. In the event that I do have a short downtime, I am running Moaning Winds on both my secondary weapon and my sidearm. Let's enjoy this AoE nuke while we can. Now if you don't have Moaning Winds, there are a few options. Clip Combustion and Radiation Splash are weaker but quicker direct replacements. The other option is to mod Anomaly Enhancement along with Fortress onto your main weapon, which is what I have done even though I don't actually use it. Anomaly Enhancement has been buffed so that it now gives a buff to your firepower of 40% of your Anomaly power. In addition, Shadow's Embrace adds another 15% to take you to a 55% buff. At level 50, this means that by stacking Anomaly power, you will have firepower close to the levels of a pure firepower build. And every time you buff your AP, you buff your firepower, which you can see in the footage I showed earlier, where my firepower was at 245,000. So, if you don't have Moaning Winds, then just use your gun to put out some nice damage in the very short time your skills are on cooldown. For my final mods, I picked up Perseverance Shield for those oh shit moments. Shield's out because it was on this gear piece and hell, it looks good. Then you could certainly use other options in place of this. And finally, the nearly essential Captain Hunter. In terms of stats, Anomaly power, skills life leech and cooldown reduction are the ones to focus on. If you are running say a death shield, then you could use close range damage at a push. In all of this footage I'm running mainly epic gear. Now if you have the Edge of Time gear set, then you can use this to increase the damage of Temporal Blade by a whopping 100%. I would recommend using the goggles, the legs and one of the gloves or the footwear, and these have the right combination of mods on them, including Double Slice, yet another juicy buff to damage. So in its basic non-legendary form, this is a great build with which I ran archways on CT15 in about 11 minutes. The key thing for me though is that you need to play this class in the right way for it to be effective. And most of all, never stop moving. Until next time, casual out.